Want to live abroad, but maybe the job that you have won't allow you to work remotely? Well, today I'm going to share with you what I think is the #1 business in 2022 that will allow you to live and work remotely.
White bitch chillin' on the table. Do she got horns or a halo, yeah? Bite my lip, but it tastes so young. Suck my soul till I don't got none. All of her friends wanna have some fun.
There may be various reasons why you're wanting to live abroad. Maybe it's a lifestyle, maybe it's the cost of living in the US, maybe you're wanting to escape the cold winters. Whatever it may be, this trend is accelerating rapidly post-pandemic with the rise of remote work becoming more common for companies to allow their employees to work remotely. And if you have an employer that it allows this kind of freedom, I would absolutely take advantage of it before starting any business. Usually businesses do take, 3-6+ months to kind of set up, go through the, the failures of starting a new business and kind of that learning process, that learning curve. So if you're in that situation, I would absolutely recommend keeping that your 9-to-5 job. And then if you want to, start a side hustle on the side or a business, you can absolutely do that on the side, especially if you have a job that allows you to work remotely. Usually most of those jobs do not take 8 hours of your time. Most of those jobs you can finish the work in less than 4 hours. So if you're in that situation, I would absolutely take advantage of that kind of arbitrage opportunity, making US dollars with a US company, whether it be $50,000, $60,000, that can allow you to live a very, very good life abroad. There's a lot of countries that you can choose from. South America, I live in Colombia, been here for about 3 years, it's beautiful. If you choose Colombia, I wouldn't choose any other city than Medellin. There's Bogota, Cartagena, but those cities, Cartagena is really touristy, really hot, and Bogota is really cold. So I think Medellin is the perfect city in Colombia. Mexico is really nice for digital nomads. Brazil, Argentina right now is really good with exchange rate. Their currency has really devalued a lot. I hear it's even like much cheaper than Colombia. You can find a really nice apartment, and Buenos Aires is a really modern city, and the quality food there is really good. You can get steak, really nice steak meals for like under $3. You also have Asia, which is finally reopened, Bali, Thailand. And then you also have Europe, Eastern Europe especially is a lot cheaper. And those all offer really nice, first world amenities for, a half to 2/3 less of what it would cost to live in, a big US city like Miami and New York City. And then you have lifestyle. I find lifestyle outside the US much better. And almost every expat that you'll meet that lives abroad will say the same thing. They can live a much better life, outside the US, and it's beyond money too. It's beyond just the fact that, it's easier to live. It's just that a lot of these countries I find, especially South America, Latin culture, Latin America, it's really a fun culture. There's always something going on. Living in Medellin, I don't live there anymore. As you can see, I moved about 50 minutes outside of Medellin, just for more peace and quiet. What I did enjoy about living in Medellin, the city, no matter where you are, you're about 20 to 30 minutes away. If you're living in Poblado, you're a 5-10 minute Uber away from seeing your friends, or a 5-10 minute walk even. Most of that city is pretty walkable. So definitely, like the social life, things to do. I find it's just more enjoyable. Living in Latin America, I found living in the US, it's also probably because I was living in Iowa, probably didn't help. But there was really nothing going on. Everyone was always working. Everyone was always busy, even on the weekends. And it's, a good and bad. That's definitely something that I miss in the US too, is like the work culture, how people are dependable, they love working. But it's a double-edged sword too, because everyone's always busy. They're always doing something. Let's go ahead and move on to the point of this video. Some of the different businesses that you can start abroad. Those were just some of the reasons why you might want to live abroad. The #1 business that I think you can start to live abroad in 2022. Again, this is, not the only business. I'm going to cover a few other businesses. This is the one that I started to allow me to live in Colombia, live abroad, and it's the thing that I'm most knowledgeable about. So the #1 business that I think you can start in 2022 is Airbnb. If you've seen some of my previous videos, that's what I do. I want to cover why I think it's the #1 business to start, in 2022 internationally. A while for things to come back, but 2022 is the year that people really started to start traveling internationally again. And once they started removing restrictions, things came back within a matter of 2 months. Now I think that's the big opportunity versus in the US. I do think it's starting to get a little bit more saturated. I've been hearing it more on Facebook groups that I'm in for Airbnb, looking at listings that I have been researching in the US, because we've been looking at some markets in the US too to invest in, mainly in Florida, Miami, Tampa, also Tennessee. As the months have gone on, especially the last few months, I've been hearing more and more about kind of like more occupancy in people's calendars. People haven't, been getting their calendars filled as much. Find the right deal, obviously, it all starts with the deal. And then from there, you can make a really nice property. There's still a lot of amateur, Airbnb hosts everywhere in the US, in the world. And it's not hard to outdo them. I just think there's more opportunity abroad. This was kind of a market that got killed in 2019. And it's been slow to come back. And I mean from like the supply side. The supply has kind of taken a while to come back. So, the margins and what we saw in 2022 with our business was pretty much unseen and unheard of. In July, we did, I think, in Airbnb bookings with our new 9-bedroom property, which is our main property, we did about 37,000 gross, and we did about 30,000 net with that property. And July was, that was our best month we've ever had. Really from January 2022 on, it's been good. Tracking to do about $300,000 this year. And that's between our Airbnb properties. And also we started offering Airbnb experiences, tours, concierge services with our properties. It was kind of like a natural parallel business to go along with Airbnb. And with that, we did, in July was our best month. I think we did about 60,000 gross. And net, we did, I think, 42. Still make more from the accommodation side, but the experience and tour thing, that was, again, kind of like a natural parallel business. It's a really expanding business too. Airbnb offers, you can host an experience on there. We don't do that. We do all our experiences through basically direct marketing. People that stay at our places, we offer these services. And sometimes they opt in for them, sometimes not. I do plan to make a video further revealing kind of like our month-to-month and year-over-year, profit projections, just so you know that I'm not like BSing you. Let's go ahead and get into a couple reasons why I think international Airbnb is the move. I already talked about, the US starting to get a little bit saturated and how much, post travel has come back. But there's a couple other reasons, again, beyond, you being able to live abroad. I already talked about how, the demand right now is really big international, especially Colombia, Medellin. Colombia has been named in, top 5 countries to visit by various magazines. Medellin actually just surpassed Cartagena in number of tourists. Medellin always gets written up as like one of the best places to live in the world. So right now, like Medellin, Colombia tourism and Airbnb is really, really strong right now. Another reason is what you'll find in a lot of these foreign countries, Latin America especially, from what I've heard and seen, other countries as well, Bali, Southeast Asia, Eastern Europe. I know some people doing it there. And even anytime I get on Airbnb and look at like international places to stay, I always see, the top properties being like foreigners, people that obviously aren't, they don't have names from that country. Maybe you're staying in Brazil and they have, super English name. I always see the top properties being in like some foreigner's name, and like I scroll down the bio and I see world traveler, I fell in love with this place, decided to start an Airbnb. So what you'll find in these foreign countries, I don't want to hate on Latin America, but especially in Latin America, people don't have, that great of a business sense, how to do business, service levels of doing business, providing service. If you've been to like probably any Latin American country and you go to a restaurant, you'll see like the service is nothing like the US. It's really bad. So that's what you find just in all spectrums of doing business here. People aren't, on time, service isn't as good. So what I found, if you're an American, you're kind of used to that culture, providing good service, kind of have that American business mindset, entrepreneurial mindset. Also, people don't have that in other countries. You're already, at a huge advantage versus the locals. Also, a lot of these countries aren't as wealthy, so there aren't as many people like investing a ton of money, $50,000, $100,000 into a property, a foreigner could do, pretty easily. I mean, that is a massive advantage, but it also is a little bit harder. Obviously, you know nothing about that country. If you're basically starting new, you have to find, basically all these stores are not familiar to you. So there's also a little bit of a disadvantage. Things aren't that hard to go through. You've been there for a month, pretty much you know more or less all the stores, best places to go, things like that. Language could also be a disadvantage. All these things can be worked through pretty easily. I see this in so many countries, not just Colombia. Italy's a huge tourist destination in the summer. A lot of Americans go there. Also, Puerto Rico, countries that have set up tax advantages are especially attractive for real estate because you can kind of combine the traditional real estate with the advantage of running an active business with Airbnb versus traditional rental can bring 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times the cash flow that traditional rental would. Those countries that off the top of my head, are Puerto Rico and Portugal. Those 2 countries are receiving a lot of investment because they have set up a system and incentives for foreigners to go there, invest money. Portugal, I know they offer like a golden visa. Also, Puerto Rico, both those countries, if you invest, they offer very attractive incentives to where you don't have to pay taxes for so many years if you invest there. But then if you combine that with Airbnb cash flow that you can get from Airbnb, it makes it really, really, really attractive. So that is my top business to start in 2022 if you want to live abroad. It's not the only business. Obviously, I have a lot of friends that do like high ticket sales. They're able to do that abroad. People are able to work with an employer in the US that allows them to work remotely. Again, if you have that option, that's ideal. And then you kind of like use your free time to start that other business. But there's many other, especially online businesses that you can do, e-commerce, sales, a lot of things that I don't know about because I don't do them. But I do have friends that do them. Another one that is really, really attractive that I've thought about doing in the past, and I have some friends and know some people that are making like stupid money with this business. It's OnlyFans. Some of these models are making like hundreds of thousands of dollars a month, and that's another great business. If you have some marketing skills, online marketing skills, a great business to start. OnlyFans agency, especially in a country like Colombia. There's no shortage of beautiful women here. It's essentially like any other kind of online marketing, that business. Basically, you're promoting a model, pushing their social media pages, and funneling that customer down. So there you have it. Those are my top 2 businesses to start in 2022 if you want to live abroad: Airbnb and OnlyFans. Again, those aren't the only businesses that you can start to allow you to live abroad, but I think they're the most lucrative right now in 2022. If you are looking to start Airbnb abroad or domestically, make sure you subscribe. I'm going to start releasing a lot more content about Airbnb, Airbnb related topics, and start giving out a lot of value. Also, I do offer consulting and a mentorship program. So if you want to like really jumpstart and fast forward your journey in Airbnb, make sure you check that out. So thanks for watching this video, and I'll see you guys in the next video.